Hi everyone, we are talking about rotations today. So to start off, let's do a little bit of vocabulary. So first, the angle of rotation is the positive number of degrees that a figure will rotate. Okay. Now our center of rotation is the point about which the object rotates. So in this case here, if we're rotating Finding Nemo, my point 0 is my center of rotation, where my angle of rotation would be right here. Okay. Now rotation in and of itself is just a transformation. This is a rigid transformation where all of the angles with a some vertex P are formed by a point. The images are congruent, okay, and the image is the same distance from P after rotation. Right. Now the two directions we're going to deal with are clockwise and counterclockwise, and really important to note that unless stated, all rotations are counterclockwise. Okay. All rotations are counterclockwise. Okay. So we're going to denote our transformation with an R and then my degrees and my center of rotation. Okay. Let's go through some examples. So first, is this a rotation or not? Right, so on A, this looks like a reflection to me. And so if I go ahead and draw a line down the middle, they can see that this is definitely a reflection. Okay, so not a rotation here. However, B does look like a good candidate for a rotation. This looks like a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation. Counterclockwise rotation. Okay, for our next example, we're starting with our original point, and then we are rotating this, and we want to see where we end up. Okay, so first, I'm starting at point C, and I am doing a 90-degree clockwise rotation. Okay, so clockwise meaning I'm going this way, the direction that a clock would go. So if I rotate C 90 degrees, I will end up right at D. Now for EF, a line segment EF, I am doing a 180-degree rotation. Doesn't really matter which direction I'm going, but a half turn. So I'm starting at EF, and I am rotating 180 degrees. I would end up right here at GH. Okay, next, I'm starting at AH, and I am doing a 90 degrees counterclockwise rotation. Okay, so I'm starting here at AH, and I am doing a 90-degree counterclockwise rotation, so I'm going to end up right here at DG. Which, I mean, it's kind of obvious because they're the only two skew lines. Alright, and then last but not least, I am doing a 90 degrees clockwise rotation starting from AD. So right here, I'm at AD, and if I do a 90-degree clockwise rotation, I would end up right at BA. Alright, let's move on. Okay, so for our next example, we're given a pre-image, which is polygon ABCDE, and we're asked to rotate this 270 degrees, 90 degrees, 180 degrees. Okay, I went ahead and rotated these ahead of time. Okay, so where my blue rotation is my 90-degree rotation, yellow 180, and then this pink is 270. The one thing I will say is that a 270-degree rotation counterclockwise is the exact same thing as a 90-degree rotation clockwise. Okay, so keep that in mind. So let's go ahead and fill in this chart together. So starting with my 270 degree, my A value is now at 0, -4. My B is at -2, -5. My C is at 3, -5. D is at 3, -3. And then E is at 1, -2. So now if I want to come up with a general rule, it looks like my X and Y switched, and now what is in the Y spot has become negative, right? Or the sign is changed. So I can rewrite this as Y, -X. Okay, my 90-degree rotation is this blue one right here. So writing in the points, I'm at 0, 4, 2, 5, negative 3, 5, negative 3, 3, negative 1, 2, and for my general rule, it looks like my x and my y have again switched, but this time it is the x value that has changed sign, or I guess what used to be the y value has changed sign. So now this will be negative y, positive x. Alright, and then for 180 degrees, that's my yellow shape. I'm at negative 4, 0, negative 5, positive 2, negative 5, negative 3, negative 3, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. And so, again, if I want to come up with a general rule for this, it looks like my x and my y values both just change sign. Right? So that's going to be my rule there. Okay, so let's move on down to some of these examples. So they're asking me to find the image according to the rule if I have a 90-degree rotation. Okay, so I'm starting at 5, 1, and for 90 degrees, I know that my rule is negative y, positive x. Okay, so for my image, I'm going to change this to negative 1, positive 5. Okay, for B, I'm starting with negative 3, 7 as my pre-image, so my image will be negative 7, negative 3. Okay, now I'm doing a 270-degree rotation, so I know that for 270 degrees, my rule is y, negative x. Okay, so now I'm going to switch these and change the sign of my x value. So this will be negative 5 and then positive 4. Right, same thing here, so negative 8, negative 6. Okay, and then for 180 degrees, nothing switches, but you do change the sign. So this will become negative 6, 0, and this will become 6, negative 4. Okay, now they're asking me to find the pre-image given the image. Right, so I'm going to want to use my rule again. So for a 270-degree rotation, I know that this is my y value and this is a negative x value. Right, so if I swap these, I will end up with negative 7, negative 4. Okay, same thing here. So this is y, this is negative x. So I know that my original point, my pre-image, was 2, 6. Okay, now finding the pre-image for a 90-degree rotation, I know that my 90-degree rule is negative y, positive x. So my pre-image was the point 9 and then 10. Here, for again negative yx, I know that my pre-image was 7, negative 4. Okay, and then for 180 degrees, just switch the sign again, so negative 6, 3, 2, 1. Okay, and they've asked me the rotation rule for my point here, so I changed from 3, negative 2 to negative 3, 2. Looks like my sign's changed, so I know this is a 180-degree rotation. Okay, so they are next asking me to rotate the figure according to the rule for a 60-degree rotation. Interesting. Okay, so now we're talking about something that is not a multiple of 90. So the way that I'm going to think about this is I'm going to connect a line here to my center of rotation, and I'm going to draw another line, and I need this second line to be a 60-degree line. Okay, so I think 60 degrees, that would be about 90, so a little bit less. So 60 is going to be about there. And that's where I'm going to start my image. Okay, so here, 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 and so long as this is a 60-degree angle, then this is my new image, and that's okay. Alright, so that's how I would approach these. Now, conversely, if we have an actual coordinate plane and we're rotating a point, we can do math to figure out where we're supposed to be. So if I'm at the point 2, -3, my center is -1, -1, and I want to rotate this 90 degrees. First, I would ask myself, what do I know about 90-degree lines? Well, I know that they're perpendicular, right? And what do I know about perpendicular slopes? Well, I know that they are opposite reciprocals of one another. Okay, so if my slope here is 2, -3, I know that my perpendicular slope needs to be 3, 2. And so my new point, rotated 90 degrees, is going to be right here. And again, I just use the fact that perpendicular lines are opposite reciprocals. Okay. Alright, that is it for these notes. Your homework is as follows, is the following worksheet. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and have a great rest of your day.